to Fender Play Live. I'm your host, Scott Goldbaum. Today we're taking a look at 3 songs that you can learn on Fender Play from David Bowie's classic record, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. We'll check out the tones, the riffs, and everything in between that make this such an iconic record. Plus, we're giving away some gear as always in the Fender Play giveaway, so make sure you stick around and just be sure to drop any questions in the comments section throughout the show. But first, please welcome our special guest, a close friend of the show and our company, Fender, the one and only Andrew Martin.
Hello, hello.
Welcome back, man.
How are you?
For those who don't follow Andrew already, you're an artist, songwriter, killer guitarist. Your Rolodex of artists include David Lee Roth. I loved your original project based out of LA here, Moon Honey. And you've been touring with Palais Royale for a minute now, internationally, and it's kept you super busy. Again, you're a huge friend of the show. We had you on the Rolling Stones tribute. It's great to have you back again.
So happy to be here.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, well, today we're going to be sinking our toes into all things Ziggy Stardust. And the first question we like to ask our guest, in this case it's twofold since it's centered around David Bowie, is how long have you been playing guitar? And what does this artist in question mean to you as a guitarist, as a performer?
Well, first of all, I've been playing since I was 13, but I got into Bowie super early, taught me how to break pretty much every boundary early on, you know, fashion, tone, whatever it is,
catalyst to it all.
Yeah, you can throw it all in there and you can break whatever you want, He taught me how to have an attitude. So, I'm honored to do this today.
Yeah, man. Well, it's great to have you. And before we jump in, we always like to ask this too, especially because this is coming out of your arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
What are you playing today?
This is a made in Japan, very special Fender Telecaster from the 80s that I've just thrown all around every stage all around the country.
Man, for those of you guys who don't follow him, a little bit of research is going to document you throwing this guy up and down, like I said, just around every concert stage you find yourself in any concert. We sounding good over here, guys? That goes to say, we talked a little bit earlier, we're going to be talking a little bit later about how to get that awesome Mick Ronson thinned out tone. But for now, I'm going to be playing a Paramount acoustic myself, and all these songs you'll hear today have a great acoustic line alongside the signature electric riffs that Andrew's covering. So I'll be covering the acoustic side of things today, and we're going to be taking a look at 3 songs off of Ziggy Stardust that you can learn today on Fender Play. We're just going to highlight and demo some of the best elements of the songs, but if you want to learn the full thing, sign up for a free trial and check out these lessons. Man, I think there's no better way to start off than by demoing some of the title track of Ziggy Stardust.
Let's do it.
Let's jump in, man. And the acoustic. Well, there's a little sample of that. Andrew, why don't we just start off with your thoughts on that song? It's loaded. It's got a lot going on to it.
It's amazing. It's really just such a simple chord progression between G to D to C, but it's got all this texture and the tones are unbelievable. one of the most iconic riffs of all time.
Yeah, man. And again, it's so cool because it's one of those songs that, again, I think that Bowie is just kind of the king of alternative. And for those of you who may think that you lean into one genre more than another, it's really fascinating that you can kind of just pick anything out of his discography and as a guitarist especially feel like you're a good candidate to be like, oh, I want to learn how to play that. Right out of the gate, you have this you'll be hearing from a little bit more of as we get into our insider later on. But in short, it's just an excellent song for players of different styles. You have that constant acoustic line played throughout the song, but then some really cool lead licks that are coming off of the electric guitar. Now, so earlier I mentioned the guitar tone on this album. You guys have this really thinned out acoustic guitar track coupled with these Mick Ronson riffs that are staples of the song. Now, Andrew, how would you describe this Mick Ronson tone on this record?
I think it's this great combination of overly saturated, super nasally, mid-range turned up all the way. But for whatever reason, it sits so well in the mix and leaves so much space for Bowie's vocals, and all the string arrangements and everything else. So there's something genius behind, almost how kind of tinny it sounds sometimes.
Yeah, and I know that he, as a player, also had so much to do with the string arrangements, like you were saying. So make no mistake, I imagine it was very intentional how it came across on the record.
Absolutely, yeah, and he also, was pretty famous for using the wah pedal and keeping it all the way up, and it kind of created this super nasally through a tunnel kind of sound,
Well, for all of our viewers out there, I bet we can actually offer a quick little A and B. Why don't you play a little something? We want to try with it first. Here's what it sounds like with it really fast. Now let's contrast that against just what it would be without it, the walk parked in a position like that. Yeah, no, for real. So those effects go so far in offering that unique sound. So take stock of that information, guys. And that thin guitar was great for David Bowie's voice, like you were saying, just carving out that space the way it needed to be.
And it sits so well within the acoustic,
Yeah, the pairing of the two. It's so, just when we're kind of locking in the same riff, let's try that together. 1, 2, 3, 4. On for that one too. That's really cool. It's just such a unique sound sonically. And if you're playing through an amp, guys, for you acoustic players, make sure to turn down your low end and get rid of all that woofy, subby sound. You can just adjust your EQ on the guitar to carve out those low tunes. But if you don't have an amp or an EQ, you're just playing straight acoustic, it's not a problem either. Just strum a bit higher up toward the bridge. Let's contrast that for a second. So if I'm here versus a little bit higher, this 2 is going to cut through a little differently.
Right.
So sometimes on this show we also like to, I don't know if you guys did this last time you were here, but sometimes on this show we like to throw some trivia your way.
Trivia.
The first person to guess correctly gets the fantastic grand prize of a shout out live on air from none other than our guest Andrew Martin.
Oh, unbelievable.
Here it comes. So drop your answers in the comments. Doesn't matter if you're on Twitter, YouTube, or our Facebook community. We'll give you a shout out to the first person to get it right. Andrew, how about you give us the first question of today's episode?
All right, the song Ziggy Stardust was produced by David Bowie and Ken Scott, who at age 16 began his career as an engineer on which classic album?
My goodness, Ken Scott, only 16 beginning his career. Do you know what classic album? So we were just talking about how to recreate some of the guitar tones from this amazing record, but say you just have an acoustic guitar. Is it possible to get both tones from just an acoustic? For the answer, let's head to the studio for this week's Insider. Go ahead and check it out.
Hi there, I'm John McLennan, Fender play instructor and session guitarist. The acoustic is often thought of as an instrument that's only used with a clean tone. And for a good reason, it sounds incredible, just unplugged, and it's gonna be the main instrument in styles like folk and country. But effects, they're not just for electric players. If you listen to lots of classic or alternative rock songs, you're gonna notice that players add effects to their acoustic guitar to get all kinds of sounds. Take, for example, David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust, to Jimi Hendrix's version of All Along the Watchtower, and even Nirvana's cover of The Man Who Sold the World, all add grit to their acoustic tones. So today we're going to take a look at how to add some overdrive to your acoustic tone. First, let's check out the clean sound of this Fender Paramount acoustic. And we're playing through an acoustic amp with no effects added. Here's how that sounds. The first way you can get some acoustic overdrive is with an amp. Acoustic amps are made to reproduce just natural, clean sounds of the acoustic guitar, but some players would use an electric amp to get a bit more grit. I'm gonna plug into a Fender Deluxe Reverb. Let's hear how that sounds. So it sounds a bit different, but not particularly distorted since the gain is left low. If we were using an electric guitar, we could just crank up the volume on the amp to get some overdrive. But it's not gonna work the same with an acoustic, and that's gonna result in some pretty gnarly feedback and low-end hum. This is because unlike an electric, your acoustic has a large hollowed out body and sound hole, which means the sound's gonna reverberate and bounce around on the inside and it'll actually overload the pickup, resulting in tone-destroying feedback. Let's see that in action. So unfortunately, you can't just crank it up like an electric guitar to get some overdrive. One option that you have is to change the pickup in your acoustic, but a simpler option to get some grit is to just use an acoustic guitar distortion pedal. And that's gonna help you avoid feedback, but still get some awesome overdriven tones. First, I'm gonna plug back into the acoustic amp. Today, I'm using the Smolder Acoustic Overdrive pedal, which helps me get that overdriven acoustic sound while still managing to control the feedback. All my controls are set at noon with the gain cranked up just a little bit. Let's hear that in action. And finally, the great thing about using an overdrive pedal is that you can still bypass it for natural acoustic sounds if you're playing a clean tone in the song, and then you can kick it on for a lead solo. The important thing is to experiment and figure out what works for you. In the meantime, keep practicing and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're taking a look at a few songs off the iconic album, as you can tell, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. Now, again, everybody, you can learn how to play these if you head to Fender Play and try it out for free. We're gonna give you some in-depth lessons on 3 tunes off that record. Hey man, looks like we got a trivia winner.
All right.
The question again, why don't you repeat us and remind us what the question was?
Okay, the question was, who produced at age 16, what classic album was produced by Ken Scott?
And I'm excited to announce that username Iceberg Lettuce on YouTube answered
what a
correctly
great name.
that it was what? What is the answer to that? We know it to be A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles. Iceberg, thank you very much.
Iceberg Lettuce is such a great screen name.
I couldn't hold it in. We were paralyzed by the semantics. We got some more trivia coming up, but for now, let's check on another tune from the album. Let's just jump right into Moonage Daydream.
All right.
Count us in, man. Gator, I'm a mama, papa coming for you. I'm a space invader. I'll be a rock and rollin' baby for you. Keep your mouth shut. You're squawking like a big monkey bird. I'm busting up my brains for the words. Yeah. Keep your electric eye on me, baby. Put your ray gun to my head. That song's got a little bit of everything going on, but you just had some fun, man. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching that. There were some really rock solid embellishments there. Let's talk about the solo, and let's talk about, maybe this is a good opportunity to talk about some distinctions between what Mick was doing on the record and what he was known for doing live, too.
Well, yeah, the album was so much more of an orchestrated thing. You know, the solo had tons of effects and reverb and panning and everything else. Yeah, way more of kind of a euphoric sound. Whereas live, they were just going for it, and you never really knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, back to the breaking boundaries thing. You just whatever they were feeling, they were going for it. You know, so you hear Mick kind of let loose more live.
Yeah, and way to carry that torch. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I felt really great, man. And then one thing I love about the original one is, again, especially if you're utilizing like reverb and time-based effects for the first time, the recorded solo is actually accessible for a beginner.
Oh yeah,
it's a really cool starting point.
Long sustained notes.
Can we hear a little bit of that? I know you're. Just
yeah, I mean, you know, like.
Yep.
There's a lot of that.
The vibrato, the bends, your positioning on that, how to create that sustain. That's so valuable, but again, super cool for a beginner to tackle. Yeah. Not lest we forget the David Bowie sax solo. I was going to for that. Sorry, I almost forgot to mention that. What were you going to say?
Well, it's also less is more too, you know. Sometimes you don't need to be doing all the stuff that I was doing.
Well, when you're layered with a multitude of instruments and string arrangements and the drummer is taking up its own amount of space, but to be two guys playing guitar, one acoustic and one electric, it makes sense in this environment 100%.
Absolutely.
I made reference to David Bowie's sax solo on that, which is, as promised, a good pivot into another trivia for you guys.
Can't wait.
Again, guys, drop your answer in the comments and we'll give a shout out to the winner. Andrew, what do we have for this next trivia question?
All right, Bowie learned to play saxophone from which famous baritone sax player?
Which famous baritone sax player was it? Do you know?
You know.
Drop those answers.
Come on, Iceberg Lettuce.
If you do, come back for round 2,
come
Iceberg.
back for me.
And if you have any Ziggy Stardust trivia you want to share, drop it in the comments and try to stump us. I think you will. We got one more tune to check out that you can learn on Fender Play. Probably no better way to end on the last song David Bowie wrote that David Bowie happened to write for this record. But the first song that was released as a single, and that is, of course, Starman.
What a great song.
Crazy intro.
Probably my favorite Bowie song.
So cool. It's going to be kind of a weird start. Check this out, guys. I'll let you count us in, man. All right, let's look at this linearly. Let's talk about that opening chord.
So dissonant and beautiful.
So cool. And it just catches your ear right away.
It sounds like it was like, you know, they were trying to play this major chord.
Right. And then the thumb didn't catch the reach all the way.
Yeah. And then this beautiful mistake just came out.
Yeah.
It's great.
And that's kind of a cool just philosophy as you guys are songwriting or even sometimes soloing, just commit to the era.
Yeah, Robert Fripp made an amazing quote, make better mistakes.
Yeah,
So,
make better mistakes.
It's all right to hit the wrong notes sometimes.
Oh man, I preach. Well then that, on the heels of that intro, I feel like each of these sections in so many ways could belong to separate songs.
Right.
But it's just its own odyssey of a song. That's just so great. And the great thing about all these songs, that not only are they great tunes, but there's so much to pull from at every level. There's a lot of open chords for beginners to work on their quick changes, strumming patterns, all these lead lines you're hearing Andrew play. It's wild, man. In fact, like, let's just kind of take stock of a little bit of the stuff we're doing. A lot of that, like, string muted. The second phrase, you were embellishing a little bit on there. What were you doing there? Right here. Yeah. Just like that. And I think like that's a great demonstration just from the first phrase to the second phrase. As you're growing as a player, know that like jump in, join the band and jam. Work on your chord changes, and then kind of build into those nice little arpeggiations and everything in between. What do we think? Okay, we have another winner on the heels of this, but in the meantime, it's definitely worth asking you, man. I know that you were heavily inspired by Bowie as a practitioner of just art, but what do you think is the legacy of this album from Bowie? It's certainly iconic for the songs, but what do you think is the influence of this era of Bowie in a kind of greater capacity as a guitarist, an artist, just kind of culturally?
I think it took the artist into more of a cinematic role, rather than just being a musician that got on stage and rocked out. It was this full motion picture of, operatic instrumentation and fashion and everything all inclusive.
Right.
And kind of the most far out idea, but keeping this pop sensibility alive in it to where everybody could grab into it and say, like, undeniably know that it's great.
Yeah, and there were a lot of people around him that encouraged that, the production aspect of things, right? Who would you
Tony
say
Visconti was,
to the end, yeah.
Some of the string arrangements were obviously done by him, and it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, man. The company you keep, and I guess just trying to leave the creative world a better place than when you found it, and pushing those boundaries. We do, in fact, have a trivia winner from the last question. I'll repeat the question. We had David Bowie learned to play sax from what famous baritone sax player? And Andrew, who got that right?
Stacy
S on Facebook?
Yeah.
All right. The correct answer
Stacey.
was Ronnie Ross. Nice, good on you, Stacy. I did not know the answer to that question, and I've been enlightened. Okay, we got another one. Oh, okay, Ronnie Ross. He actually also played sax on Walk on the Wild Side.
What a great song.
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, cool. Well, now it's the time we get to at every show, and that's going to be the call to action for you players out there and members of our community. So let's get to the homework. For those just joining us for the first time, every week we do assign homework for our viewers, and especially those learning to play in our Fender Play community. We'll give you a shout out if you complete your homework, and we'll help you along the way. Just record yourself doing the homework, drop it in our Fender Play community. And Andrew, what do we have for this week, starting with our beginners?
Homework. I love homework. Yeah. Okay, well, all the beginners are wondering how they can be as good as you. Yeah. So, start off by strumming those chords to Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, right up. Yeah, that's right.
Just G, D, C.
Yeah, that's a great application for quick chord changes, and that's just, again, jump in the band, join us, be the third guitar. I remember when I was first starting to play guitar, my first band, that had like 4 guitars in it.
Yeah.
So that goes to say for our intermediate players, we'll kind of pull from the same song, but what do you encourage them to do this week?
Try playing that riff from Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, it's a dope riff.
At the right speed.
Yeah.
I think that will get you in the zone.
Yeah, cool challenge too. And then for our advanced players, what do you got?
I would say play us your favorite Mick Ronson solo, and just go off,
Yeah.
You don't have to stay in bounds.
Yeah, maintain the integrity of the solo, but he wouldn't. Yeah, carry that torch. Andrew Martin, always so good to have you on the show, man.
So good
I know you've been doing so much with Fender lately. What else is forthcoming? What else is going on with you?
Just getting ready to leave for basically 9 months on tour next year.
Is this with Palais Royale?
Palais Royale, yeah, just world tour.
Oh, wow.
Nonstop. So excited to get back to Japan,
yeah,
where this guitar is from.
Yeah, that's right, the MIJ.
Hopefully I find many more of them.
That's the best part of tour, right? And just figuring out how to get it back home. Well, that's exciting, man.
Yeah.
We look forward to having you back on the show.
Can't wait to be back.
Seriously, man. Thank you so much for coming through. Give it up one more time for Andrew Martin. Thanks so much, man. Until next time. So now, next up, we're going to be welcoming back our community guru, Dylan, to tell us what's new on the community and on the site. And of course, announcing the winner of this week's gear giveaway. But first, if you find yourself wanting to dive deeper into the songs and techniques from Ziggy Stardust, then check out the playlist of skills and song lessons from Fender Play that we just put together. You'll be sounding like the alien rock superstar in no time, they say on my teleprompter. Check out the link for the comment in the comment sections for more below. But in the meantime, he's returned yet again another week. Give it up for Dylan.
Woo! Yes, thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Scott.
You kind of greeted us like an alien rock star. It's good to have you back, man. I feel
it's good
enlightened.
to keep variance in what you're doing.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Well, and here we know that every week on Fender Play Live, we give away a free, substantial piece of gear to a Fender Play subscriber just for practicing 3 times a week. If you win, you can choose from a list of Strats, Tellys, Jazzmasters, basses, amps, all just for getting better at guitar. And the best part is, if you practice 3 times a week for multiple weeks in a row, you actually increase your chance of winning. What an incentive to practice. And Dylan, every week you get to bring the good news. So who do we have as our winner this week?
All right, can I get a drum roll, please? Sandra R.
Give it up for Sandra R.
Sandra, come on down.
Sandra and everybody else, for more info on the new giveaway rules, check out the link in the description as well as the post in the community. You just came on, man, with a gorgeous, good-looking guitar. What
Yeah,
are you
I know.
playing?
I mean, did you even notice I came on or just the guitar? So, yeah, we've got an American Elite here. It's Cobra Blue.
Oh, wow.
Cobra Blue. Oh, it's an Ultra. I'm sorry. American Ultra Elite.
Shakespeare said, what's in a name?
That's right.
Branding.
And then this has the 5th generation noiseless pickup, so I don't
wow.
know if you can hear this, but I've got no noise coming.
Oh, wow.
That's right. And then
Oh, no kidding.
it's working real well. So
And neck like
it's working.
butter.
It's working.
Okay, cool. Well, as always, tell us what's going on in the community.
Okay, yeah, great week in the community. It's been awesome. I mean, it's like, I don't know if 100 people join the community every day, but it's like a crazy number. So glad to have all you new people on, and thank you all that have stuck around and all the awesome contributions that you give. So
And truly, not just the contributions as far as the answers to the questions and the prompts, but the courage that everybody seems to have just to ask the questions that they ask. I can't tell you how wonderfully well-oiled of a constructive machine it's become. I tried to get to a question the other day, and I think there were literally 24 people who answered me before I did. No instructors from Fender. You guys beat us all to it, and we can't thank you enough for that support and encouragement of everybody. You're talking about leaving a place better than when you found it. It's truly an amazing community for those of you who aren't members of it yet.
yeah, if you're not a member, join Fender Play and become a member immediately. So there's 2 people that I want to talk about today. Raina, so I'm sorry. Raina M. Raina M has been playing for about a week, and she just learned, I believe it was Hit Me With Your Best Shot. She posted not just 1, but 2 videos of herself playing it. The first one she played it, the second one she caught a correction. Oh, wow. So Renee, that's how you do it. That's
refinement, nice. Way to talk about that.
And then an old favorite that we absolutely love to see from Isabel Machado, like just knocking them out with these duets. This time she played a video with Kelly on the other side of the pond, Aluminium, Lift, the Lou, the Lily. She did all these. So Isabel's like killing it. Every time she comes on, she just knocks it out of the park. Possible pop star. Isabel, just think about it. Think about it.
That's right. Put it in the hours, an outlier in no time,
right.
in 10,000 hours. Every week we're adding new songs and skills to the site, so there is always something new for you guys to learn. Just this month we actually added some songs from Ozzy Osbourne, George Harrison, The Kinks, Future Islands, The Eagles, and just a ton more. So what do we have that's new in the Rolodex of new stuff to learn this week, man?
Yes, well, this is a bit of a jump from where we were today talking about David Bowie.
Yeah.
By the way, tangent, I had an entire class on David Bowie while I was going to Berkeley, just so you guys know it's out there. This is a crazy world that we live in. It was a great class. Anyways, one of the big ones we've got coming out is, see if you recognize this.
Is that the Batman theme song?
Yeah, so if you ever wanted to learn the Batman song, which I know all of you did, everyone, I can see you.
Across genres, across generations.
That's right. It bridges the gap. Learn Batman. It's on the site.
Okay,
and
cool.
And then another big one that came out, let's see if I can... Kumbaya.
Not where I saw that go.
Okay, so maybe it's a little bit different than that on the site. I don't know. But check it out. It's actually worth knowing. You know, you go to a party, you play Kumbaya, you get a lot of traction right out of that.
Wow.
So pay attention to that.
That's just a universal principle.
It works anywhere.
Timeless.
Globally.
Yeah. Great.
Okay, and then
We're making friends.
Radar Love is on there too. If you haven't checked out Radar Love, the video is absolutely worth seeing. Some very Bowie-esque clothing going on there, and it's on the site. The entire song is worth learning. Check them out.
Cool, man. Well, guys, again, a huge thank you to our guest, Andrew Martin. He was so awesome. He stopped by, and next week, it's worth saying that we're actually off for Thanksgiving.
That's right.
And I think it's a great opportunity to just, again, extend all the thanks that we have for every one of you guys watching, especially our members of the community. I can't express the gratitude we feel.
Yeah.
Dylan, you and I have both kind of watched this platform grow from day one, and you all mean the world to us. So we'll see you guys back here in December. Thank you, my friend. Thanks to Andrew Martin again. Keep practicing, and we'll see you guys for more next time. Let's drum that G chord.
All right, now let's do it.